Welcome to Survivor NSFW and our continuing coverage of Labor of Love. I'm joined tonight with Matt Bischoff, Jonny Fairplay, and the man of the hour, Trent.
Let's go, baby.
We'll get a Snoots appearance, and I think we've got another lurker in Matt's background. Is that Marcus Lehman?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Marcus, my man. Look at that face.
I got a lurker right here, dude. It's like I'm afraid a fucking bear's going to jump out from my bushes over here. And I got to say, Trent, first of all, my middle name is Trent, so that automatically makes you fucking cool. Number two is you have a fucking dope mustache. I am a fan of facial hair, okay? I don't know if you can see this.
What is that bad boy? Holy shit.
My beard, it's kind of dark out here, but hold on a minute.
You got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. How long is that thing?
So, I got the ultimate mustache, Mr. Trent. You got the nice, like the Ron Jeremy kind of porn star stash going, which I love.
Well, yeah, I can't compete with, what is that, an 8-foot beard? What is that thing, man? That's pretty outrageous.
It's a strong 5, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably like less than a foot away from my beard touching the ground. And my wife tells me as soon as your beard touches the ground, the beard is going. Because that was my kind of goal. So, I don't know. I maybe have like a year to 2 years left, and then my wife is like, beard's gone.
Hey. And, everybody really wants to know, how does beard length correlate with dick size?
I don't think it, some people are like, oh, is someone growing a big beard to make up for wiener size? I really don't think that's the case. I mean, I'm not saying I have like a wiener like Jonny Fairplay might have.
What's going on? What?
Or I don't know if you know this, but Jonny was sending me pictures of Matt from Labor of Love's dick.
Yeah, have you seen those? They're online.
Wait, hold on. Wait, what? Say that again?
Grab your phone right now and Google search Matt Stryker dick pics.
How about I not?
I'm in the wrestling world, and he's referred to in the wrestling world as Pepsi Can Matt.
Yeah, what Pepsi Can Matt means is the girth of the wiener is like the flaccid wiener is like the girth of this PBR can, which quite frankly, I'm not sure chicks might dig. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Is it all about the length or is it all about the girth? I don't know.
I'm already getting visuals I didn't expect.
Well, I don't think any of us can answer that question, so we'll drill into the episode.
Real quick, Trent, you mentioned, or Matt, you mentioned Trent's mustache looking Ron Jeremy-esque. A quick side story. I did a show called Kill Reality, and we had a rap party, and my parents actually came out to the rap party in Los Angeles, and Ron Jeremy was there. And I was kind of nervous about introducing my mom to Ron Jeremy, and I was just like, fuck it, because Ron and I used to hang out. We used to have lunch together all the time. I was like, Mom, this is my friend Ron, and she goes, oh, the hedgehog. The fact that she not only knew who Ron Jeremy was, but his nickname scars me to this day.
Well, and this was your mom. This was your mom?
Yes, my mom knew that Ron Jeremy was affectionately known as the hedgehog.
Are you sure your dad is your dad?
This hair.
Hey, Fairplay. There's one thing I haven't told you. I got a better Ron Jeremy story.
Ooh, sweet.
So I'm at a Hustler, like the Hustler Hollywood store here in Cincinnati. I mean, this was before my wife and I had kids, and so we met Ron Jeremy and Houston, who did a porn called the Houston 500, and some other chick. Well, anyways, Ron Jeremy goes up to Tessa and puts her arm around Tessa, and he's like, hey, baby, if you ever want to change professions, give me a call. He basically is trying to recruit my wife to be a porn star.
What?
Which was fucking hilarious. So that's my Ron Jeremy story. I mean,
Did she say yes?
Huh?
Did she say yes?
She did not say yes.
Did you show him your phone where you have lots of rehearsal footage?
I do have lots of rehearsal footage.
Ron had no desire to see all those pegging videos, I assure you.
Oh, no.
Well, I knew tonight was going to be fun. Having Trent on, I did not realize this was the rabbit hole we would go down early on.
We're getting deep.
First of all, Trent, I want to say this, man. Obviously, you're a fun guy. You have some like little imaginary friend cat type thing.
Hold on, I gotta squash that shit right now because let me tell you all the truth behind the editing. I mean, one, I still have it. Like, yes, I still have this thing on my cat tower. But check this out. So on the barbecue night, one thing they totally skip is Kristen Davis gives us all like this. It was a big ceremony where she gives us a gift, and like one guy got this and one guy got that, and she gave me the cat, right? And then I thought it'd be funny to like, I'm insane. I'm not that insane. Well, kind of, but whatever. But so I thought it'd be funny to act like it was real for like a week. And so I'd like walk around petting and stuff. And the guys were like, dude, we quit. And I was like, what do you mean? And like, anyways. And then at one point, one of the producers was like, hey, Trent, lay on the bed, put the cat on your chest. Let's just get some footage. And I was like, yeah, cool, whatever. Yeah. So like they make it look like I brought it and that I sleep with it. And I was like, dude, Kristen gave it to me, and then I don't sleep with it. Like that was like stock B footage or whatever. But anyways, I just had to squash that.
But you are a cat guy, right?
Yo, dude, I got 3 cats. You want me to grab one of them?
Go for it.
So
Trent's out here grabbing
Snoots.
So you have cats, Trent. So like, are you a fan of like hairy pussies or the shaved ones? Because I have friends that like. This guy, Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains, he's got a shaved pussycat. And then, like, Jonny Fairplay is like, I know he had like a really hairy pet one. I'm a fan of the shaved ones, but, like, if you had a choice between the two, which ones would you choose?
Well, right now I got 3 really hairy pussies. And so,
Johnny's a fan of the 70s muff. I mean, Johnny's like, Matt, have you heard of Riley Reid, this porn star? Google search her. And I think we were on a podcast one time, Fairplay, and I Google searched. I'm like, because we were talking about like manscaping, right, Johnny?
Yeah, I give out the stencil kit to girls I date. And
I thought we were talking about cats. Where y'all going with this? There you go. All right, I'm gonna grab one of the cats. Do y'all want Snoots, Skeet, or Dorkle?
Snoots.
I'll get Snoots.
Yeah.
Snoots was the original gangster, and while Trent pretends that was the first time he slept with the cat. He had that cat literally the entire time, everywhere we were.
All right, I gotta admit, he's kind of right.
It wasn't. The editing was trying to edit scenes where Trent didn't have the cat with him.
I'm sure.
Like, we had to hide the cat so the cat didn't come on the date with him and Christy. To be honest, but
I'm just excited that Marcus isn't here for the wrong reasons. Hey, look at Snoots.
Yeah,
this is Snoots.
What up, Snoots?
Very cute.
That's her length. That's her.
Yeah. What's her girth, Trent?
That's what that looks like.
Trent, can I say that I'm good friends with Matt Stryker. I'm good friends with Marcus Lehman, and you are my absolute favorite to win. Is that?
No,
me. Hey,
Johnny.
I will say that me and Marcus. One thing I really wish they would have put in more is me, Marcus, and Gary. Almost every single night had what we call the gentleman's jacuzzi. And so Marcus, by the way, like owns like $100,000 worth of whiskeys and bourbons. So he brought some really nice bottles. So we drink whiskey and like chat about things in the hot tub. I totally thought some of that would make the airing, but it didn't. But it was some of the most candid, like real combos, versus like the ultra heavily edited stuff. But,
yeah, they don't want that. So.
It was Marcus.
Cool. They're telling a story.
Boys.
They're telling the story isn't you guys, becoming lovers. It's you guys courting Christy. So
yeah, you make a good point. Now that you say that, what was that?
I think that's what Allan got wrong last week. He thought it was his dance with the guys. Yeah.
So Trent, we go to this first. I call them challenges because we're used to like covering Survivor. But you go to this gym. And there's this gym owner with this young girlfriend, and you guys maybe think you're going to do like some sort of physical challenge.
Oh yeah.
And
it had boot camp written all over it.
What's that?
It had military boot camp written all over it.
It did. And little did you guys know that the curtain drops, the black backdrop drops, and there's like all these OBGYN people and beds and machines, and you guys have to do this labor simulation. Were you expecting that at all?
No, check this out. Here's how it started. So we're all like, first of all, we do like some warm-up push-ups and stuff, and that drill sergeant like gets us in shape for it. And then we all watched Christy go through the most ridiculously simple obstacle course. She was like a little, just little itty things where we're watching it, and she kind of gets through it. And then as we're watching it, everybody, including Marcus, we're all like, we are about to freaking crush this obstacle course. And we're stretching out, getting ready. And then, dude, when they dropped the curtain, first I actually did think it was going to be a prostate exam, whatever, we're all old. And then when I found out what it was, I actually wish it was a prostate exam, right? Like, to be honest, at first, Jonny Fairplay, you got those electrodes on you, whatever. Like, I kind of thought like, oh, it zapped me, like no big deal. That shit was out. Like, once again, most guys only go to 60. As soon as we were done, Spike from like Spike TV, like big Fox guy, he came running up and was laughing. I was like, what are you laughing about? And he was like, man, most people will only go to 6. We told the nurses to take it to 10. And dude, like, Marcus, you can probably attest. It was like one of the most painful things I think I've ever done in my life.
Yeah, I mean, I had welts on my body afterwards for like the next 4 or 5 hours. Like it was no joke. I mean, I loved watching you guys because you're in like your pain cave while this is happening, and so I didn't get to see any of the other stuff. Definitely one of the most unique moments on TV that I've seen or certainly been a part of. But wow, yeah, I mean, talk about out of left field. None of us truly saw that one coming at all.
All right, I'm turning this up to full throttle.
Let's see it, Jonny Fairplay.
Yes.
Yeah, we had.
Okay, it's speeding up.
Feel the pain. Eat the pain.
All right, we're good.
Oh man,
Eat the pain.
I think we had 6 of those on, dude.
Oh my god!
So Johnny, Marcus just said they had 6 electrodes on. How many electrodes do you have on right now, Johnny?
I had 2 at full throttle, and it shot me up out of the seat.
Hold on, Johnny. I gotta say something. I'm gonna let Marcus answer this. Marcus, how close to our nuts were the lowest thingies? How far down did they go with the electrodes?
It was in the no-fly zone, 100%.
No-fly zone.
I'll go one more time. Fuck! I can't. It's still on.
For any listeners out there who've wanted to see Jonny Fairplay in pain, check out the video.
You to put the electrodes like right here, man. Like you got to put them like right here.
Right here.
Like right on the V. Put it right on the V. Yes. All
right, here we go. I turned it off. I'm gonna turn it back on.
Dude, now you're a man. This is how you become a man, John.
Okay. You're ready? I'm just going full throttle.
Here goes Jonny Fairplay with the electrodes below the waist.
Okay. So it starts slow. It speeds. Okay. All right. It's like tensing up my stomach. All right. Here comes the big wave. Holy moly! Oh, yeah, get off! Oh my god!
That's only 2 Fairplay. They had 6 on them.
Great. I'm a small. I've hung out with Marcus. I know how big he is. He's bigger than me. So and Matt Stryker. I mean, if he had been there, I know where they would have attached him and.
It hurts.
That hurt. The funniest things, like when this was going on, I found it kind of interesting. You guys partnered up with someone, and Trent, you were massaging Kyle through this. Like you were like, man, buddy, I don't know if you're rubbing his legs or whatever. And then when they showed the electrodes on you, you were moaning in agony, and you were taking it like a champ. And then you see Marcus and Stuart. And Marcus obviously deals with patients as an anesthesiologist. So he's got this calm demeanor about him because he's used to, people are going in for surgeries. They're scared to death. And he's like, hey, look, this is how we're going to put you to sleep, blah, blah, blah. You, though, you had just an outrageous kind of reaction to this. So was this one of the most gnarly experiences that you've gone through? Like
two things.
This, but just the whole fucking show. You know what I mean?
Well, the whole show is pretty crazy. But two things about this episode. One, the nurses, right? They brought their own thingy to use to shock you, and so like Stuart and Marcus and Gary and Keith, their nurses had this like iPad looking like where you dial in the number perfect. It like looked futuristic. Our nurse had this archaic, like fucking like 80s looking Russian, like she'd tap in numbers and be like, "Kark," and like it was different. And I felt like it was shocking us more. And then on top of that, at the very beginning, I was like, the first shock hit me and I felt 100% of it all in one spot on the left side. And I was like, oh, and I was like, nurse, something's wrong. And she laughed and she's like, oh, that's just birthing pains, honey. And then I kept like saying it. And like 15 minutes later, I was like, will you please look under my shirt and like check, like while like during like the off portion. And so she lifts my shirt and she goes, oh. And I was like, oh, what? One of the, like a bunch of them on my right side didn't stick right. And so it was only going through one side. And then anyway, so I was getting like shocked the fuck out of my left side. And it was like sending all of it to one side. So I felt like shafted on it.
Her equipment also doubles hooking up to an iron lung, perhaps.
Yeah, dude. It was like a Russian death machine, man. It was like big and clunky and
I love it.
So at the end of the day, you guys all go through this experience, and Stuart comes out as, I guess, the winner. Marcus over here seemed pretty bummed about that. Were you pretty disappointed that Stuart, he's kind of getting this good edit in the show? Like, as a viewer, I'm like, man, this chick seems to really be digging Stuart. Obviously, you have some feelings toward her, Trent. At this point in the game, are you getting jealous when others come on top in these challenges and competitions?
Yeah, I mean, one thing, and Marcus maybe could attest to this, my style with the ladies in the first place is kind of a more cash style versus the guy that charges in. I think Marcus is the same way. But like Stuart, I mean, he was smart about it. He was bold. So anytime he had a chance, he was the one asking to walk her home or do this or do that. And I felt like if I were to do that, to me, it would I'd be going over the top of things. But he was smart to do it. Like he always asked for the opportunity to walk or take or do whatever he could with her. So, it was smart.
Yeah. And you can blame Marcus for Stuart winning because it was Marcus's voice that puts Stuart to sleep.
Oh, I can't believe he said that, dude. Oh, Marcus, get out of here. Your voice doesn't put me to sleep, man. That was bull.
The senator, he plays a lot of things really well, but I mean, Trent, you're one of the more like chill guys. Like you brought your A game when you needed to. Like that was kind of why I think Gary and I spent a lot of time together too. And I think you're clearly like one of the most dynamic personalities we've ever met, all of us who are on the show. So I mean, I feel like my sense of you when, whether they showed the drills or not, like, you were just, you knew your moment would come and you've always like, taken advantage of it, which I think kind of is what we saw later on in that episode. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I had to turn it on a little bit, just
real quick before we,
real quick. I got to say, thank you, Marcus. That was very nice of you to say all that.
It's all true.
He's a sweetheart. Everyone loves Marcus. So, but before we finish this challenge, Marcus, you showed up in some pretty sweet peach rainbow shoes for this challenge, and I just wanted to say, before the month of June is complete, happy Pride. I appreciate you representing with your shoes.
Johnny, I hope you paid attention to all of the costumes and outfits that Trent and I had throughout this entire episode.
Yeah.
I have to say, I don't know if it'll ever be on television, but there were some very unique moments in that from then on about sort of how we chose to comport ourselves at the house. And I think the fashion really turned a dial or two up. We're just trying to keep up with Trent, honestly.
Well, when me and Marcus were having the serious discussion and I looked like the Dirty Frenchman or whatever, and he, has a guitar, like what happened was they had set a badminton net up. And so Marcus was like, I'm going to be Captain America. And I was like, I'll be the Dirty Frenchman. And so like, I dressed like, and we had this big ass badminton tournament, Marcus being Captain America, me being the Dirty Frenchman. They didn't show any of that. They just showed the outfits.
Yeah,
so we weren't like just casually walking around in those. They definitely were for like an event that we thought was going to be on the show, but whatever.
And Trent, you had some styling cowboy boots, right? What's the story with those?
So I used to actually be big into oil and gas. And so actually set up probably like one of the top 10 oil plays in the nation in Oklahoma City. So I used to actually, go to meetings where, how do you say it? Like in Oklahoma, if you're in the oil business, you need to have flare in your boots. They look normal until you cross your legs and that flare comes out. And I don't know, it just shows a little bit of a dynamic in that whole world. But so those are straight from Oklahoma, realistic oil boots.
Speaking of gas, Trent, as Marcus and I were watching tonight's episode, and I'm laughing at the labor simulator, Marcus said that you were farting a lot. Is that true or false?
No, Kyle was. I was coughing a lot.
Okay, Kyle was.
So actually, Kyle was like, Kyle was like, oh, like whenever the labor thing would stop, and you have like the second where you can talk, like for like 10 seconds. He was like, dude, this next time I can't hold it. I'm about to fart real loud where you cough. And so when it goes on, he squeezed my hand when I needed to cough, and I was like, oh! And he ripped big ass fart. And that's why I also did the fan around his taint zone. Because dude, his shit was stinking, but on his behalf, they literally fed us a full freaking barbecue brisket dinner thingy or lunch before they put us on this.
Purposely
done. I think intentionally to make us like fart and poop and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
love it.
Quite frankly, I've been known to shart, half a dozen times over the last like couple weeks. So I probably would have shit my pants during this situation.
Before we did it, they actually told us they were like it's sometimes kind of normal to shit your pants, and so we were like, dang it. So you lose control of your stuff.
You had one of the best dates, Trent. I mean, I guess it's Six Flags, and they literally closed the whole park down for you guys.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, you guys had this, it was romantic. It was fun. It showed your just laid back side. Like if I'm looking at you, because I'm a dad, Jonny Fairplay is a dad. Okay. And Zach here in the podcast and Marcus are wannabe dads, but,
Zach doesn't want to have a kid.
But going,
Thank you. Smart one. He's the smart one of the bunch.
Side, being a fun dad is kind of like what Jonny Fairplay and myself are. It's like I'm heavily engaged, and I think that Christy kind of sees this in you, that you obviously have the serious side, dude, but you have this fun-loving side, which to me, if I'm looking at it as a viewer, like you're the perfect combination of dad material. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I'll put it this way. Like when I was doing full-time coaching in an academy, as soon as the academy was over, we had a bunch of pros doing 8 courts. And afterwards, every parent comes up to me and they say, hey, our kid, can Zach or whoever little kid, can they be with you next week? So like every kid always wanted to be with me because I can kind of joke on their level a little bit,
Right.
I can get down real low, real easy.
We learned during the Six Flags deal that your mom has Parkinson's. And it's you guys have a very serious conversation, and I kind of took a step back and looked, and do you feel that you use your humor as kind of a shield? Because I mean, like with me, I'm braggadocious and over the top and ridiculous, but they're hidden in my deep dark black spot of where a heart should be. Is a little heart that is a extremely compassionate, loving and sensitive person, and I personally use my humor as a shield, and I saw what I felt was some of that in you. Do you feel that way in some way, or am I completely wrong?
No, I mean you're nailing on the head. Like the way I like to think about it is, I don't know, we're all gonna die one day. You got this short little life to live, and so there's many choices you have in life. You could take things really, really serious and then I've seen a lot of bitter old people that just throughout the years have just gotten bitter. Or you can kind of take life as light as you can each day. There's definitely things I could complain about. Instead, I'd rather try to laugh and have fun, right? So, I mean, there's a time and a place to be serious and to get real. But the lighter you keep life, I think it's just a it's short, so keep it light.
So how have you been taking this whole like quarantine situation, dude? Obviously, this was filmed a long time ago, but you saying that you're trying to make the most out of life, like how have you been like dealing with this whole deal?
It's been awesome, to be honest. Like, it's been the best staycation ever. I've reconnected with all my cats. Like, we've gotten to know each other really well. I've gotten really good at Beat Saber on VR. I'm like an expert plus level. Like, I'm probably one of the best players in Colorado in Beat Saber and VR. I've done a lot of art, using the time to do art. I'm kind of I'm one of those introvert extroverts. I like being around people, but I need to recharge my batteries alone. So being alone has not been hard. And then I will say this, Marcus can probably attest to this. When you're in that house, that's basically like being in quarantine, but without your phone, computer, TV, whatever. And so, to be honest, being stuck in my house a little bit, but with all my things, it's easy compared to what we had to go through on the show. And I'm sure Marcus can attest.
The show basically was prepared you, essentially,
like Survivor for us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I've said the whole time. Is like,
big time.
Being on Survivor away from your wife and kids, I'm like, shit. My house, I have everything I need at my house. So I have no problem being at my own house, right? So I think it's cool that you have that outlook, because there's a lot of people that are freaked out by not being able to go to bars, restaurants, etc. But I think it's cool that without you guys even knowing it, that experience of being on this television show kind of helped you through this whole deal. You know what I mean?
100%. And, I could probably speak for many people. Like, I think this quarantine has made people learn how to play again and find a hobby again. And, because as you're bored of the house, you just end up starting to do things you used to do when you were younger that used to bring you joy. So I think a little bit of the quarantine taught people how to play again,
Right. And bicycle sales, I used to work in the bike industry, and more kids are riding bikes than ever before. More people are playing instruments and hiking and doing things. And I really hope that when this is all said and done, that's a trend that stays. I mean, trust me, video games and electronics, all that stuff is cool. And I'm fine with like my kids doing that for a period of time, but we're fishing and we're playing golf and all this other stuff. And I think it's creating this balance and learning that there's more to life than, just your monotonous shit. Is
100%. I mean, I've been camping more this past quarantine than ever. I'm actually leaving for Lake Granby in the morning, going with 30 people, with 30 people to the mountains. It's going to be great. But I mean, once you get there, you don't have any cell phone service. So you just take your phone, you put it away, and getting out in the nature and stuff and whatever. Anyways, the quarantines help people, I think, like you say, learn how to be again.
So tell me, Trent, about the Flash Mob. It's like the Time of My Life song, whatever, Dirty Dancing, whatever the hell that is. I saw you jump up and do the splits. It's pretty dope. What was that moment like for you? I mean, I thought it was pretty cool watching it play out, but you were there living it. Kind of take me back to that time.
Dude, so one thing, we had to redo that scene like 4 or 5 times. So I got to kiss her a bunch because every time we made out at the end. So that was kind of cool. Actually, to be honest with you, we had to redo like the first couple because we kind of screwed a couple things up. And then the third one, I kind of intentionally screwed it up just so we could make it again. But whatever. Yeah, so we're walking, man. Like, we're walking. And there's like, there's nobody really at the park. And then all out of nowhere, there's a dude like shining a light fixture.
Well, that's what like your comment. You're just like, seems to be a lot of people cleaning.
Right. There's a guy like sweeping. And I'm like, why are you? What's going on?
But was he like the worst sweeper ever?
He was doing. He wasn't even scraping the ground. He was just going through the motion, like not even hitting the ground with it. Like, yeah. And then once we realized what was going on, kind of had fun and danced and did all sorts of stuff. But like I say, like we did 5 takes. Yeah. So we got to it was kind of fun because we got to relive it like over and over and over.
Oh yeah.
Had you been to Six Flags before?
All the time. So here's the funny thing. Literally, and Marcus can attest, when we drove into the houses, we drove past Six Flags, and I was like, I haven't been to Six Flags in a hot moment. I want to go. So I could be alone because you know how they put a mic on you right here and you just mic'd up all the time. So like I'd be alone just sitting there. I'd be like, if Trent gets a date, could he please go to Six Flags? And then probably said it 1,000 times. Just kidding.
Yeah.
And when they actually gave me Six Flags, I was like, ask the universe and it gives or whatever.
Do you think you think they did that for you, or do you think?
So Spike, Spike from Spike TV or whatever, the Big Fox executive. He's the big producer or executive on the show. He was there on the date, and I was like, Spike, have you been hearing me say like this 1,000 times? And he was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, shut up. I've literally asked to go to Six Flags every day on my mic. And he's like, we already had this planned in the books. He goes, I'm a believer. Like Spike's kind of a very big yogi, like put things out in the universe and it comes back kind of guy. And he was like, I bet the fact that you just put it out there made it come back. So whatever.
Nice.
It was a dope date.
But yeah, while you were there, we saw you guys win a hilarious amount of goofy shit. What was your favorite thing you won? There was like a donut, some tacos, the capes.
Probably the
capes
taco
were sweet.
I still have it.
What do you have?
I got it in this drawer right here. Hold on. I'll find it later. Yeah, the taco hat was pretty dope. I wore it for a while.
Yeah, the capes were sweet.
Oh, never mind. I changed it. The capes were awesome. The capes are the best. That was easily the best.
Trent, the peach was awesome. You added that to the couch.
Oh, yeah. You want to see it?
Yeah.
This guy is great.
It's show and tell, man.
Dude,
I know.
Yes.
So, hey, check it out. The funny thing is, like, Kristen, David, okay, Kristen, I love you. But she was always like, hi, guys. And, like, so, like, I always thought this peach looked like Kristen Davis.
I love it. I love it.
That is a pretty strong Kristen Davis impression, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
So I got to reference this real quick. So you guys are at Six Flags. I lived in LA for about 8 years. In my last 2 years, my roommate, whenever we go out to bars, he would tell girls what he did for a living, and they were just like, well, what do you do? And he was like, you ever see the Six Flags commercials? And they're like, yeah. And he goes, I'm the guy. And they're like, what do you mean? And he's like, dun, 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 dun. And he would do the fucking dance. They're like, holy shit, you're the fucking. He's like, yeah, he wasn't. But he would hook up with girls based on the, like, I'm just like, how does this get you laid? I'm like, even if it's true, who wants to fuck the guy?
What kind of ghetto bars are y'all going to, man?
Saddle Ranch.
So you guys, we go to this segment where Christy comes over to the house and they show this future family photos with the most horrible photoshopping I've ever seen.
Oh, man.
It was laugh out loud moments. I mean, the amount of teeth, it's like you're a little kid. They don't have adult teeth.
Gary's baby had 89 teeth. Did y'all see that? It was like...
I can't look at Gary the same, man. That was the stuff of night.
I know, it ruined Gary.
Dude,
He was the
they
Gary
give Gary
King
the
after that.
shittiest date with a bunch of kids, and then they have his kid have these fucked up teeth. I was like, dude, Gary, I'm sorry, man. That sucks.
Yeah, if Gary wins, he's battling you guys and production.
Yeah, right?
You think they purposely did botched photoshopping? I mean, what was the scenario of how they came up with this? Because I thought it was like, I'm like, when they showed like Marcus, I'm like, oh, like his kid, I'm like, oh my God, like Jonny Fairplay has beautiful daughters. I have handsome boys. And then I see all these other Photoshopped kids. I'm like, oh man, like they could have been a lot better look. I mean, you're a good looking dude, Trent. But these fucking pictures that they Photoshopped were pretty damn hilarious.
Did you see Marcus's baby? It looked like a redheaded stepchild, like third cousin kind of weird thing.
I think the eyes were reversed, literally.
I think they went to like a strip mall in Glendale to like Photoshops R Us, and it like I expected the pictures to be on like printed dot matrix with the fucking ribbons on the side.
Like they made no sense, to be honest. Like, when you're creating an avatar in a game and it's like click random avatar and it's like and just create something random. I feel like they were like a random baby generator and it just made something random. Like it made no sense, to be honest.
It was horrible. It was like last week's game show with 2 questions. They're like, hey, who wants to play a game show? Here's 2 questions. We're done. And
dude, they skipped so many questions, man.
That was obvious, but at least show 3. Like showing 2, you're just like, you guys play the worst games.
It made no sense. Like, I mean, at one point they were like, the question was like, where do you want to raise your baby? And everybody was like, in my house in Costa Rica or in my house in California. And I just said up in Christy's belly. Yeah. And like, I thought for sure that would make TV, but no.
Did Matt Stryker say, "I don't care as long as Christy's raising it and doing everything"?
Dude, Matt. Hey, Johnny, do you still talk to Matt?
It's been a while.
Man, he's disappeared off the face.
I looked on social media because I was going to add him on some stuff, and
yeah, like 14 of us, like me and Marcus and the other guys, we all still talk, and except for Matt. Matt just poof. He's just nowhere.
So Trent, we see Christy kind of pulling Keith aside, and Keith has got this obvious fiery side. As a viewer, we see he's got a little bit of a temper. He can get like really pissed off. We saw it with, when Matt was annoying to him and some other situations where he was trying to cook a meal and someone's stealing his thunder. So we know he gets a little pissed here and there. What are your thoughts
on his attitude? Here's my thoughts on it. Like, all right, so 80%, maybe even 90% of the time, Keith is a great guy. 10% of the time, he's got a little temper. 90% of the time, I'm a pretty normal dude. 10% of the time, I like to get a little weird. Like Marcus, 90% of the time, nice guy. 10% of the time, gets a little heady and sentimental. So whatever your little thing was, it could be heavily shown to only be that versus the other 90% of the time you were actually like Keith was really nice. He helped people in the gym. He helped Gary with his workouts. He cooked for people. Like, he was really nice. Just 10% of the time you let it get to him and got a little hot. But he of course show that.
How bomb was his chicken?
Fucking great, dude. I ate so much that I had weird shits that next morning because I ate too much chicken.
It looked like the most bombest fried chicken I've ever seen in my entire life.
I'm
it was amazing.
I even ate it. So
really,
yeah, it was that good.
Dude, I remember that. Marcus didn't eat meat, and he was like, "Give me some of that chicken."
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like Matt's like, Johnny, you're a good cook. You can make chicken. When you come out here to Cincinnati, make some fried. And I'm just like, I can't make fried chicken like that.
It was
chefs can't make fried chicken like that.
Well, Keith went back to the same bag of tricks this week, and this time makes a bolognese. I guess he didn't know how else to connect with women other than telling them, I have a really fiery side, and I don't give a shit what people think. Yeah. Which, regardless of how good of a dude he is, that just seems like such a bad line.
Well, I mean, when I saw that, I was like, dude, Keith, come on now. Like, you're going to deserve to get booted if you're going to say that.
Yeah.
That surprised me.
Hide your flaws.
Yeah.
I mean, it happened, and that's the thing. Like, a lot of people don't understand. With reality TV, it's just like, I'm not a bad guy, but they made me a bad guy. Like, I'm what, and it's just like, this is reality TV. It's not CGI. You did what they're showing. Are they showing that 10%? Yes, but know that when you go into a reality TV show, if that 10%'s there, they're showing that 10%.
Johnny, here's the deal. I am batshit crazy, and so it was really easy for them to show stuff. But I'm okay with that. Yeah. But I'm also 80% of the time a nice guy.
I've worn pants for 80% of this interview.
What?
What?
Anybody else wearing pants out there? Anybody?
I know. Matt and Marcus are not, I'm sure.
Hey, can I tell you about this hat? It's one of my favorite hats on the planet.
Please do.
Where did you get that?
I was at a Phish concert, and I kept. There's this guy like tripping out, and I kept complimenting him. I was like, dude, your hat is the coolest hat here. And then at one point, he goes, you know what? You like it so much, it's yours. So I got it from a Phish head because I complimented it, and he thought I deserved it since I liked it so much.
What tour?
It was like 2 years ago in Colorado.
Okay. I went to the Hoist tour back in 90s. 98?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah. Bring it.
Yeah, I mean they've been going for a while. Yeah, this is like 2 years. It's like I think Trey Anastasio had already left and then come back, and it was his comeback thing or something like that.
Yeah. So, favorite Phish album?
Me? That's the funny thing. I really don't know much Phish.
Okay.
My girlfriend at the time was like, "Hey Trent, you want to go to Phish concert?" And I was like, "Sure."
Yeah, they're a lot of fun. So mine would be Rift. So if you're looking for a Phish album to own, Rift is the one.
Rift.
Yeah.
So
hey, one of the best concerts I've ever been to, though. That was a blast. Man.
Oh, they're a lot of fun.
You do and stuff. It was fun.
Yeah. So I want to ask you, Trent. Like, do you think?
Hey, Mike, Matt, can you turn up your mic a little bit?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sorry. So Trent, how did you feel how she treated Keith as far as when they were sitting there talking and he's kind of saying, "Yeah, I got a hot side to me," and she acted like real concerned about that, and she ended up letting him go before the actual elimination round.
Right.
You think that was kind of BS on from her part to do that so close to elimination?
I mean, it definitely caught everybody off guard. Nobody really saw that coming. Mm-hmm. You thought for sure it happened during elimination, not just, out of the blue like that. But, at the time I was like, how could they? But after seeing kind of some of the stuff he was saying to her, because once again, we're watching this for the first time too.
Yeah.
I kind of can't blame her, because
it was red flag city.
Yeah. And her ex, she's had like an ex that was a little hot, and so she has a history with it that she doesn't want to repeat. So you can't really blame her if she noticed that red flag right there,
Yeah. And Marcus, were you so happy that she let him go then, so that there was just all the extra tension at the end of the episode?
Oh yeah, I got a lot of attention there in the middle, especially watching from the window, sort of like I'm creeping off.
Oh yeah, I don't think we saw any of Kyle's date other than Marcus pining in the attic and strumming a guitar.
It's a good thing both my hands were on the guitar. You would have been wondering what else was going on. But no, I mean, Keith was
just creepily watching the whole time.
Yeah, dude.
Classic Marcus.
As you know, yeah, you can't see much from that window anyway. But yeah, Keith was my roommate. So I'm like you, Trent. I was surprised at how he presented himself to her, because to us, he's actually one of the most self-aware. Like, I mean, besides the fact that Trent, is an amazing guy to go through his experience with, because he really did. He kept us all grounded. Keith at least knew what he was struggling with in the world. That takes a lot for a guy to do, or any person. And for us, I think the shock was like, at least he knew what was going on. Other guys, like, I love Jason, and some other people in the house maybe that just literally have no clue of the work that they need to do. And we felt really, I think, confused by, sending the one guy who at least is working on his issue out, versus some of the other people and why they've left or not left at this point. So it was a bit of a head scratcher for us, but I agree with Trent, the way you said it, like seeing the way he presented himself to her, that would put anyone on notice, I think.
Bingo. Exactly. I guess at the time we were all like, what? But after watching it, you can't really blame her, right?
Can we go back in time just a minute on the baby photoshopping? You have Christy sitting on the sofa beside Stuart, and Marcus, you seemed there seemed to be a little angst. You watching Christy with their hand all over Stuart's leg, but Matt Bischoff is my co-host, and I've been watching you massage his leg the entire podcast. So.
You don't know what's going on below the navel here. It's impressive. It's called payback. And
it's a double standard, Marcus, is what I'm saying.
Trent is going to come. If I ever get to interview in this amazing podcast, Trent, you're going to be my sidekick on this.
I'll be your wingman.
Totally stealing half the moment here. But yeah, it's always crazy to watch these scenarios. And, I think it's always interesting. Like, I'm not the only person that's noticing these things, right? It's just, but it's funny because you're at this point, I think you don't see it, but I think it's been like 4 weeks since I've had any one-on-one interaction with Christy.
Yeah. Dude, you got a date early and then it was just cut.
Yeah. So you're just kind of like sitting there the whole time. And then all you can do is talk about everyone else's interactions. So you're kind of just like trying to react to it and kind of take it as we go. And, and then it sounds crazy, but like, we're so pumped that Trent has had the best date literally on the planet, and it's dialed in for him and her. And like that interaction is so cool. And, so it's not literally like, we're not Allan to the point where we're like sacrificing our own position, but we can just be like, hey, well played, sir.
Except for Kyle. Kyle would get so mad, dude.
Oh, dude,
like if he saw anybody even touch her, he would like leave the room and like go sulk. Like Kyle really was not a team player.
Yeah. You guys are familiar with the hero edit, right?
Right
here. I gotta get a beer. We're going.
Yeah. Cool. So how long were you guys there? Because I know a lot of us at home watching, the show is on once a week, and I feel like there's half the audience going, okay, well, this is what happened this week. This is what, whereas there's other people watching it that are just like, they probably filmed this whole thing in 9 days. So, but is it pretty much like we're seeing a week's worth of stuff per episode?
We were there. We were there a long time.
Yeah, I mean, because like we hear Marcus make mention in the episodes, like his conversation with Chris is just like, it's been 4 weeks. Like, are you still into me? He's like,
yeah, exactly right. And like
sitting here, yeah.
I mean, they even took out like one. There was a really, really big event where one of the challenges was going to be a tango night, and so we got taught by these like sexy dancers, and she had her instructor, and then we like went in front of the judges and stuff. And then it was a huge production, and there was a lot of time involved.
That'll probably be shown out of order, and you just fucked that up,
Well, yeah, you can edit this out, right?
No, Allan talked about it last week. You're good.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So like the amount of stuff that gets edited out is mind blowing to me. Like,
what's Survivor? How many days for an episode? Remind me.
3 days is 42 minutes.
Wow. Yeah, and what?
Ours was 4.
Ours had to be at 4, 5, 6 sometimes.
Yep. It changed.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, speaking of Survivor, there's some. Sorry, go ahead, Matt.
No, I'm just saying that's a lot of footage to narrow down. I mean, we're like Trent was talking about this like badminton game and the outfits that they wore. So we're not getting to see a lot of probably fun stuff because there's just not enough time in an episode to show it.
But that stuff is just you guys entertaining yourselves, though, right?
No, there's still like something like the challenge you had Christy, and then like one night Christy came over into the hot tub, and how it goes. Y'all been on TV, like it's surprising how much is like. I think it was 500 hours of footage for 42 minutes. That's what they were telling me.
But like the badminton thing, was that just a competition between yourselves, or was that a challenge done by production?
Yeah. It was one of the dopest competitions between me and Marcus, but it didn't have Christy in it.
Trent,
so yeah,
Trent did come out the victor. Like Trent did, but yeah,
barely,
you're right.
barely.
But some of it was also like understanding how serious we were about being there to have a good relationship and really think about fatherhood, which I think people kind of underestimate how serious the guys are about this. And like, dude, I'm not saying I came there to just throw one in a girl and like call it a day. It was more like, I don't need to do a lot at this point in my life to find a partner and want to take those next steps. And a lot of the time we spent was like getting really deep on that stuff. Cause like, how often do you get to sit around in real life and have those kind of conversations with other people in your position? I mean, I think I work with 60 anesthesiologists, and I'm literally the only guy that wasn't married and, one of very few that doesn't have kids. And like, that's it. Like, I'm just there all the time. And Matt's known this for years. I've pretty much held this position 8 years running.
Yeah.
We've been worried about you, Marcus.
Thanks, Johnny.
Yeah, I mean, at that point too, Marcus, I felt that one, Christy is amazing at making you feel good. Like if anybody went on a date with her, you would think y'all had a great time. So by the time we got down to the 5 of us, we all thought we actually had a chance. And she was good that way. But at that point, I think all 5 of us were serious about if we, take it down, we would go the distance. So there was definitely guys at the beginning who were thinking, if they did win, would they actually go through with it? But like these last 5, everybody was serious.
What, Booge? Is that
Booge? Y'all call him Booge?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Booge.
He ate nothing but salads with mustard on it, so we called him Budge Bunny. But
dude, I could not stand Budge Booge. We've said this on the podcast. It's like when you guys did the freaking camping deal, and he was like, I don't want to do this. I'm like, what kind of lame motherfucker doesn't want to participate in, like, if I'm on a show and I'm signing up for this shit, I'm going to want to make the best of every situation. There's a reason why that dude, in my opinion, is still single, and he probably is still single to this day. Now, a guy like you, Trent, I mean, with that fucking mustache, I mean, you and Jonny Fairplay need to hit the fucking town, dude. If you don't,
let's go, baby.
Kid right now with Christy, I say you and Fairplay need to get together and fucking get some.
Well, Fairplay, where you living, man? Where you at?
I'm in North Carolina. You need a Outer Banks trip.
I could use either a little Outer Banks action, maybe come up to the mountains.
Okay.
You know, Jason lives in North Carolina, doesn't he?
He's in Charlotte. He's 2 hours from me.
Well, right now, Jason's at the bar.
He's going to come to Johnny's house and piss on it at the end of the night.
I actually just got up to Jason called me tonight. He was like, I wish I would have stayed on the show longer. I miss you guys. Jason's actually a really nice guy.
I was very disappointed that Jason didn't act like when Christy was just like, I don't think it's going to work. I was literally shocked that he wasn't like, but can I just stay in the house? Like, is that, like, I'm cool with not being with you. I just want to stay in the house
with all the free booze.
Yeah,
we had a tap. It was great.
No, the fact he didn't go in and grab I did a show called Kill Reality. I literally got kicked out of the house. It's a long story.
Wait, how do you get kicked out of a house?
Pooping on someone's chest while they were sleeping.
We're out. That's a wrap, folks.
I mean, I really don't actually even want to know any details. I was about to ask for details, but I don't. Like, I think that
it was Trish from The Bachelor.
Wait, what?
Trish from The Bachelor.
You pooped on a chick's chest when she was sleeping?
Yeah. Well, she had hung my clothes from the ceiling. So it was
that bitch. How could she? You should poop on her chest.
Yeah. And then I barricaded myself in the room with dressers and production. When you're watching the show, it's like production that you've never seen, because there's like production in the show, but then there's the other production that shows. And I'm just like, did it say in the? They go, no, Johnny, we did not think to put in the contract, do not defecate on someone else's chest. So I was like. So
did you get any legal repercussions from that?
No. Well, ESPN magazine did a 2-page story about how it was worse than Terrell Owens.
Oh my God!
And sadly, the episodes of that television show have not been syndicated anywhere online.
No. But before I left, I'm just like, can I get my stuff? And they're like, yeah. And I'm just like, you don't need to walk with me. And I took my suitcase to the liquor cabinet, and I took every fucking half-gallon bottle. And so they're trying to be nice and help me with my suitcase. I'm like, I got it. And I'm just like struggling. I'm just like, oh my God, this is just nothing but vodka.
Well, Trent, I'd love to ask you one thing. Getting back a little bit to Keith leaving here, we saw Keith go back to something we've seen some of the other guys do, Angelo in particular. Just trying to bury the other guys and kind of play this competition game of blaming other people for things going wrong and throw other people under the bus. How tempting was that to play this competition, or was that not something you were interested in doing at all?
Man, to be honest, I came on the show. I didn't want to make any enemies. I wanted to come on the show and just, to be honest with you, I just was myself. Like, I wasn't trying to do anything special. I didn't work, so I was just being a big goofball while I was drinking all day and just having fun. To be honest though, what he said is not really too far from the truth. I mean, he called me a boy, but I prefer to say like grow up, not old. It's a different way to say it. Marcus, I think he called him the mastermind, who, Marcus is the most intelligent guy in the house. And so some of the things he was saying actually had a little bit of a basis where I didn't really take too much offense to it, to be honest.
Okay.
I think Angelo came out a little hotter and came from more of a, I want to, hurt somebody's spot when he was ripping on some people. But, what he said wasn't too far out from the truth.
Yeah, it seems like universally when any of the guys talk about the other guys in the house, it doesn't end well for them. That's almost like the last thing you say before the door hits you on the way out.
Yeah, it's not a good way to do it. I know Marcus is probably the same way. I just, I'm not there to make enemies. If I make a friend or a wife, awesome. But I'm I'm just there to have a good time and make friends. I don't want to make enemies.
But Trent, one thing I think it's worth saying, and I feel like you kind of helped lead this, is you're getting to the point at this time, after 3-4 weeks, like, I really care about these guys. We also all care about Christy. And he's starting to get to this point of like, if not me, then who else? And wanting for her genuinely to have this experience. Like, nobody knows about, like, you know, how long it took her to get even to this point in her life. And none of us want this to end badly for her more than any of us. And I think there becomes this kind of conversation, whether or not, you know, we haven't seen the rest of the show, so whether or not this actually makes it on the air, but like, okay, is there anything else Christy needs to know about the world that she's maybe not seeing? Because we care about each other. We want to certainly maybe end up with her, but we also don't want her to end up with the wrong person. And
I mean, okay, at the end of the day, like, we were all, to be honest, at the very beginning of the show, one of the producers was like, hey, Trent, nobody wants to watch a bunch of old dudes getting along, making each other omelets. Like, we were getting along too well. We're all like really respectful guys, you know, who are a little older, and that's probably why. But at the end, you know, we're not stupid. We realize the consequences. So Christy's going to have a kid with one of us. So if it's not me, or if it's not him or him, you know, you would at least want to maybe point out to Christy who might be somebody she wouldn't want to go down that road with for whatever reason, because it's such a serious thing, right? Like, we're talking about a kid. So if you see a red flag in somebody because you've been hanging out with them for so long, you might want to mention it, right, Marcus?
Dude, I hear you. And
do you think Keith meant to point out red flags, or do you think it was a case of sour grapes?
No, here's the thing, Keith. I actually have utmost respect for Keith. To be honest, he didn't say anything slanderous. He kind of said some.
No, it wasn't. I think this or the, like, I'm at, you know, which one is it? Do you think it was him pointing out red flags or sour grapes?
I think he was using his last moments. I actually, when he called me a mastermind, he told me, so I had a whole long conversation with him right as he was leaving, like that last scene where the car cuts away. I've actually been talking to him for like 20 minutes, and he was telling me kind of what he said, because same thing. He's like, if not me, I want Christy to know kind of who to watch out for. And I think, you know, he meant to reference Stewart as the mastermind. But he was just trying to run through his moment, you know, because I mean, you guys know, you get these like 10 seconds and you got to like kind of put it out there. And I think every reality show, if you go after a certain person, it tends to kind of kick you in the head, but you get this moment of like, okay, this is it. Get it out there. I think that's what he was really kind of actually sincerely trying to do. I felt like.
Sure.
Yep.
So, and do you think Allan made the wrong move in not giving all the information to Christy before his boot? Like, you know, you think if he had come clean about the whole Keith situation with food and kind of put all that in perspective, that might have changed things?
Dude, Allan once stepped on a snail and cried for 2 days. Like, he cares for people so much. He, like, you know what I mean? He wouldn't say anything bad about anybody. Like, Allan's a really nice guy.
He seemed nice. Like, he's like, you know, like, I don't
think he could find it in himself to do that. It would be like poison to his body. You know?
I think if the show were Christy and Allan, he would do great. So, but once you added the extra components of a brotherhood of gentlemen, is just like, well, you know, kind of fuck this up for me because I'm gonna be a gentleman.
I mean, to be honest, when he got booted, everybody in the show, we were like, what? Like, the first time I saw Allan, I was like, well, screw me. Like, this guy's winning. Like, I mean, everybody thought that. The guy's like built like a stallion, and he writes poetry in the background all the time.
And then he gets the trophy straight away. So.
Dude, and he has 300 million sperm count per load. Like, give me a break. Dude, he had to be like doing some sort of, I don't know.
And the accent. And let's not forget the accent. You could be an ugly South African and talk like that and get laid.
Yeah. So trust me, whenever everybody that was on the show after Allan got booted, we all had this like shit-eating grin. We were like, oh, we got away with something. Like, we shouldn't be here. It should have been Allan.
Did anyone
maybe not Marcus,
like?
But me. I don't know.
Did anyone try like talking like him after? Like, it's just like, in case you forgot, it was me that you really liked.
Well, a little bit.
Missed opportunities, guys. Come on.
Well, that brings us to the elimination, and we see the two that need to talk are Gary and Marcus. But before we get to that, she hovers on Trent and's thinking a lot. Can I ask what your perspective was like, Trent, while she was thinking about what that's like? We heard, we had Parker come on, one of the producers, and talk a little bit about how that technology worked. But what was that like for you guys sitting there while she was going through who she wants to talk to?
I mean, it's a combo meal. I mean, you're watching that screen, and so you're seeing exactly how she's moving it. So she might grab, you can see like she grabs you and maybe starts moving you and then just drags you right back and goes to somebody else. So that kind of like plays brutal. Mental game. Yeah, it's pretty brutal. Like you're thinking you're like feeling good, and then all of a sudden, and then on top of that, you can see through the window to their house and kind of like see how they're interacting and whatnot. So I mean, it's intense.
So she's moving the mouse on your thing, and she's got this angry face. It's like, well, this isn't good.
Yeah, I mean, okay, one, I thought our date went amazing, and then during the baby thing, she was hugging on Stuart so hard. I was like, wait, did I just think it went amazing and she didn't? Like I was like having a struggle right there.
Like everyone has felt that way.
Yeah, I mean it's tricky on her too. I'm sure she's juggling, a bunch of dudes. That's gonna be a little tricky, but whatever.
Been there, done that.
Oh man.
So, okay, before we get to the elimination, we have to clear the air here. Marcus, you were singing a song. You had, first of all, you're the guy that brings a guitar. I mean, I don't know if you're aware of the perception of other guys when they're hanging out with the one guy that has the guitar, but you were that guy. Just letting you know that.
Trent, you want to take this one?
Marcus also brought a bike that he could bike on, like in the gym, like a specialized like program bike thing. Dude, Marcus had like a trailer with him.
I just brought everything.
Yeah, he brought his life. Marcus brought his life with him. So dude, the guitar was like no big whoop.
I'm not even gonna claim that guitar was mine. I can't.
What was it? That was Damon's, wasn't it?
Yeah, that guitar magically appeared.
Yeah,
okay, that was not your guitar. Okay, I feel a little better that you weren't the guy that brought the guitar.
Yeah, but in fact, Matt, we've been friends for many years, and this is the first time you've ever known I even play guitar, right? So
I sing in a couple bands. And I'm watching this, and I'm like, Marcus, you're writing a fucking song? Like, you're singing and playing guitar? Like, this is like news to me. I'm like, Marcus, you play? He's like, oh yeah, I taught myself how to play. Well, of course, Marcus taught himself. This guy's
This guy
knows how to do everything. So, he's like, so the whole guitar thing, like, I want to hear more of this shit. Is what I want to hear.
Yeah, we're gonna do a metal remix of it for Matt's with Moonbow. And it's gonna be sick, but yeah.
Are you gonna bring out the guitar? Can we hear a couple of verses of the song?
Oh, I left this guitar.
Well, no, Matt has a guitar in the next room.
Oh yeah.
Oh, let's get it, Marcus.
Let's hear it.
I haven't played this song since
Matt. Hey, Matt, don't even let Marcus say anything. Just go get it.
So
we're on Zoom. We're not live. We're good.
Just go get it.
Yeah, we don't have a choice here.
Yeah.
Matt'll be right back. He'll bring the guitar. Don't worry, Marcus. It's fine.
Guys, if you don't get Marcus a guitar, I'm taking all my clothes off.
Wait. Okay. Hold that thought. Let's see it. Yeah. No. Dude, next episode we'll see if I ever get to actually play for Christy, then I'll play for you guys. How's that?
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Fair? Yeah.
Marcus worked on that song for a long time. He didn't get to sing it to her.
I want to hear it. And I mean, Trent, you're obviously still in the show. Zach Hacker, you're coming back from your lake vacation, so you might be at my house with Marcus and myself, and we can, have a little, jam session.
We'll have a concert. But
hold on, let me just get it straight real quick before we go on. Are we saying that Marcus is not getting a guitar right now?
Correct.
I think he wants to practice this week, so he's got it down for next week.
Yeah.
Oh, here comes the club.
For anyone listening to this, Trent is getting naked.
Just kidding.
But can we please at least admit this across the room here? We see Marcus stalking and lurking in the upstairs bedroom like a psycho madman. and singing this song for what seems like forever. But the song was not as long as Kyle's makeout session with Christy.
No. Yeah, they did some editing magic on that, I think.
Did you catch that too, Marcus? That they were making out longer than you actually sang your song for 2 hours?
Yeah. No, his hand was gripping the back of her head for a really long time. There was a lot of tension in those hand muscles. But
he has big hands.
Yeah, yes, he does, my friend. Yeah, it was. I don't think I'd written that many lyrics at that point, so okay. I was impressed. Okay. Very impressed.
Well, I mean, I don't know how big his hands are, but we do know that his feet print wouldn't fit in the box on his birth certificate.
Yeah, and that was right at the beginning. So
yeah,
that he actually did, okay. So he was one of the heaviest babies in the nation, or something. Like he wasn't he, Marcus? Remember when we had like a discussion on that? He was like a 20-pound baby or something, wasn't he? I need to double check, but I'm pretty sure Kyle Klinger was like the heaviest baby born in his hospital.
Dude, I don't think is that even like biological.
I know a 22-pound baby has been born out of a woman. A 22-pound baby, and I think Kyle was holding the record at his hospital until like this happened or something like this. I need to check my details.
You're right, but according to Kyle wins everything, so take it with a grain of salt.
Well, yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, it's a good thing that there was actually someone there to count the sperm cells, or you guys would have lost that as well.
Yeah. Well,
so we go to elimination time, and in the "We Need to Talk" column, we have Gary and we have Marcus.
Yes,
right here. Which was surprising. I mean, we're getting down to the wire. Gary is first, and Gary and Christy are talking. And she wants to know, is Gary down for the long haul? And I noticed Gary saying something like, listen, our date had these kids with us, right? and it kind of wasn't the most romantic thing. And he wasn't being derogatory about kids, but I saw this look on her face, like kind of like she was like pissed that he said that.
Yeah, like, what's your problem with kids? That's the whole purpose of the show.
Yeah, but I didn't see it like that. I'm like, fuck, Christy, like Gary was like super cool to these kids, and Gary could be a great dad. I mean, Gary looks like someone that like drinks microbrews and works at the Apple store and has like an iPad, an iPhone, and I this and I that. I mean, this guy.
Well, you get a discount, Matt. So he should. I mean, he shouldn't have a Galaxy Note if he works at the Apple store.
No, I mean, Gary got screwed on that day. Like, look at these 2 days.
Oh yeah.
Look at Gary's date. He goes with kids, and it's like what is what it is. And then Kyle gets a fireside deal with a bunch of wine, so they have this sloppy, like a little drunk makeout. Like, come on, like.
I think when Gary started talking, though, Christy took it like he was doing a lot of complaining and not a lot of asserting himself, I think, in the relationship.
And he did.
I think he picked up on her reaction, though, and backpedaled really well.
He did backpedal, but he did start the conversation with, I'm not changing who I am. And I'm just like, whoa, Jesus.
By the way, Gary's awesome.
Yeah,
he seems like
he's been portrayed as awesome throughout. Okay, this was his only bad moment thus far. I'm not changing who I am, and the kids ruined my date.
Dude, Gary was the most surprising person to me in the whole show. Like when I first saw him, he's got like that serial killer look, right? So I thought I'd wake up sedated and he'd be like carving my heart out with a spoon. And I said that on air. And then later on, we became good friends. And so I told him, I was like, dude, I'm going to talk mad trash about you on the beginning of the show. And then whatever. But then they never showed the mad trash. So I never had to tell him that.
So Gary stays around, and then Marcus is up next. But I got a question for you, Trent.
Yeah.
This deep into the show, has coitus engagicus occurred in this house?
Does that mean masturbation?
Johnny, is anyone fucking Christy at this point in the show? We see French kissing. We see hanging out. If Jonny Fairplay is a contestant on the show, if you're not getting eliminated, Fairplay, if you're not fucking, you're out. Right?
Yeah.
I haven't seen a lot of heated.
The cameras on this show were on you. Like, they had so many cameras that if anybody did it, they were like porn star style, because it would have been like lights everywhere with like 3 cameramen. Like there was I would have been
super into that.
I'm sure you would, Johnny.
I mean, like, can I get a personal copy? Like,
like, but if anybody did it, like, kudos to them because there was no escaping the cameras in the show. They were
I
on
don't
you
think
like hot.
This isn't that show, Matt.
I know, but
This
I'm
is like The
saying,
Bachelor, like Hannah B. Like this part of the
Every
season,
time.
she's 8 dudes in.
That's not exactly. A lot of these dating shows, there's a lot of like coital stimulations going on. You know what I'm saying? And I haven't seen that much.
What's the second word you're saying again? Coital what?
Coital stimulations.
So
I thought he said stimulations.
He did say stimulation. Well, I'd imagine Trent in the base.
I'm about ready to go inside and get some stimulation for Marcus to rub my back.
There you go.
I've been putting on him this whole time.
No, I'm imagining Trent in the basement by himself now that there's some stimulation going on.
I think NSFW needs to have some stimulation for sale on the website.
Holy moly!
So Marcus is up next. It surprises me because early on in the show, I saw Christy totally digging Marcus, and then Marcus hasn't had a date in forever. So she's like, "Hey, are you still into me?" And Marcus is like, "Yo, of course I'm still into you. I haven't had a chance to go on a date with you, but I still dig you." So Marcus is, serious about at this time in the show that he wants to be a good dad and he wants to find his partner in life. I mean, my wife and I have always been like, "What's up with Mark?" Like, Marcus is an anesthesiologist and he's got an N as in Nancy, an NBA, like a national basketball. I don't even know what it is. Marcus tells me, "Dude, I'm going back to school to get my NBA." I don't even know what that fucking is. This guy's the smartest guy. He's good looking. He's successful. He's got more money in the bank than I do, and he's still single. And he walks around with like salmon-colored fucking shorts. And I'm like, is Marcus gay or is he straight? I don't know. But
well, we were surprised to see you on this show, Marcus. So, but I hear the summation you just gave of that we got a talk speech from Marcus and Christy in their exchange, and I read that completely different. I saw Marcus being a dick and making Christy cry. Did anyone else see it like that?
You big dick, Marcus?
Yeah,
jeez, dude.
So, I mean, hey, the nice guy shit wasn't working, Marcus. I get it. It's just like, hey, you know what? We need to talk. Fine. Let me be a dick, make you cry. Am I cool enough for you now? And she's like, this is what I was looking for. So, way to go. Well played, sir.
Yeah, sometimes, you gotta give the option of saying, hey, this is your alternative. And, you choose. Now, the other part is like, it really, it's not like we all had open access here, right? Like, watching the whole conversation with her, that was the first time I'd seen that little corner conversation with Stuart. I don't know about you, Trent. Like, we were in the other room maybe, and she's like, "Oh, you've been there every step of the way." And I'm like, "Damn, that must have been nice."
Yep.
So, all right. So
okay,
how?
Hold on one second. Christy, put your clothes on. I'm on a podcast. Hey, can we edit that out?
Wait.
Hey, no problem.
Can we edit that out right now?
Christy, what are you doing in Colorado? I thought you were here.
Wow. Is that the shocking twist at the there's two of them? There's twins.
Christy and Cindy.
Congrats,
me and Marcus and Snow Brothers or whatever it is.
Congrats, man, that's so awesome. So all right. So how scared are you when? So we have Keith pre-elimination, which like if she had waited till the elimination, is like if you, Gary, and Keith go in, you're just like, it's probably Keith. I'm probably all right here. She might do 2. Sorry, Gary, but if it's if it's 3, I like my chances. But no, she's like, let me get rid of Keith in the afternoon. You're like, okay, this sucks. So then it's you and Gary, and it's just like, all right, well, what, as Trent said, he's got, kind of that serial killer, vibe. Maybe I'm safe. So then she's like, Gary, let's talk first. You're like, okay. I've seen this work to my advantage. We're okay. And then she's like, Gary, you're good. Are you like shitting yourself going, fuck me?
I mean, I think, Trent, you said it best when you're like, well, I had a good date. I think, right? And then you're going through all the little scenes that she's like hanging all over Stuart, and there's all these other things going on, and you realize a bunch of time's gone by. So yeah, you're definitely super uncomfortable because you don't really understand, and maybe your message that you've been trying to get across isn't sort of. I think there was a conversation while we're waiting of like, yeah, I've been trying to do this song thing and it just hasn't happened yet. So you're kind of feeling like your moments kind of come and gone. And, that's the whole peaking too early thing, which I guess, I'm on the show for a reason that I've been doing that for 39 years. So, that's kind of the stuff that's what you're thinking about, because it's like, what could I have done different? What can I maybe say right now? And then there's also just a lot of questions because you haven't had that time to kind of even just connect with Christy, and you don't know really what's in her head. And we haven't gotten to see any of the conversations that she had with guys that, and Trent and Gary and I talked about this all the time, like Walker and Allan, like what could have happened, we don't know. And so you're kind of going in and all of a sudden you're like, holy crap, this is like my turn. And, I feel like she had sort of taken, as I remember it, I feel like she had taken everybody into a little bit of a conversation beforehand. And I'm like the last guy. And I don't know, you can't really see visually that like Gary went downstairs or did he go home? Like, and I'm such a goody two shoes. I'm like, I'm not going to peek around the corner and find out.
Oh, you got to look.
Dude, I'm such a
well, it's probably for the best that you didn't. You like, maybe you were just, okay.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
Gary,
I would have been a basket case knowing that Gary went downstairs because it's just like, look, mathematically, it's been so long. Like she can't just keep people around the whole time. Like I love these guys, love hanging out with them, but like this girl's got to make some real decisions. And it's been
the rules of the game are elimination.
Yeah, we've had
that last elimination, having all 5 of us stay, it was very surprising. Like to be honest, I thought Gary was getting the boot. Gary, I love you, but I thought Gary was going to get the boot.
Yeah.
So when they both came down, I was actually happy because it's my 2 buddies. But Marcus, I thought you were staying and Gary was getting the boot.
Yeah. And when I came downstairs, I said, like, awkward for you guys. It was actually awkward for all of us. And that was kind of the thing we've been talking about. We're like, I mean, God, what are we going to do? Another 5-6 days of like all of us sitting here? Like we're ready to kind of, as the men who are trying to, maybe sire a kid, we got work to do here, y'all. Like, I don't need you all around. And I know you don't need me around. So, hey, it was almost like, sorry, I'm still here.
Yeah. It's like on Survivor when your tribe keeps winning challenges and you're just like, if we lose one, the shelter is a lot more spacious.
Yeah.
How many episodes are we in?
5.
We're 5 into an 8-episode deal. So there's no eliminations beside Keith going home. Marcus and Gary stay. Trent, you're still in the game. I can't wait to see how this plays out. I
was so nervous, Matt, because like, well, Zach, you let me know. You were just like, hey, we have Trent next week, and I'm like, fuck, because I'm just like, because we've had the people voted. We had Allan last week, and I was just like, oh, is this the tell of who got like?
So this was the curse. Like I broke the curse.
Yeah.
So we were thinking that like, oh, if Trent's going home tonight, he's going to be our guest on the show, and
I was just like, that sucks. And then Matt's like, well, Marcus was talking about coming over, and he could probably get permission to get. I'm just like, oh fuck. This is horrible.
I'm thoroughly enjoying. Typically, I don't watch any of these dating shows, as I've specified before. Johnny's tried to get me to watch The Bachelor or Bachelorette or whatever, but I've really enjoyed this show. And obviously, my friend Marcus is on it, so I'm going to watch it regardless. But
y'all knew each other before the show. Like y'all been.
But if
we're all on Survivor.
If there's
we're all on the same show together.
We were on different. I was on Survivor Pro Islands and Fans vs. Favorites. Marcus was on Survivor Gabon, and Matt was on Survivor Fans vs. Favorites 2. Karamoan.
And okay. But y'all did y'all have like reunion things where y'all?
Like Survivors. We do a lot of charity events and stuff.
But if there's a labor of love too, then I'm totally down with covering it on the podcast. I'm all in. I'm into it. It's been fun. And Trent, man, you are an entertaining character on the show. If we had Booge or Budge, whatever the fuck his name is, I couldn't stand that motherfucker. I hated him.
Tell us how you really feel, Matt.
But you, my friend, are someone that I want to hang out with. And Marcus, during commercial breaks, you seem like a great dude. You fit right into kind of the vibe that we all have. So thank you so much for being a good sport and being on our podcast. And you know, where can people find out about you and what you're doing on your social media if you want to give any plugs?
Yeah, I mean, real easy on Instagram. It's Trent, I think, _Broach, just my name. Actually, funny thing with the producers, when I left the show, they were like, "Hey, Trent, by the way, like, your Instagram sucks." And I was like, "What?" And they're like, "You got 2 pictures and 12 followers. One was a fuzzy picture and one was a picture of my socks."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay." And it was all from like 2013. So yeah, Trent _Broach. I'm still.
Have you updated it since then?
It's pretty dope now, Johnny.
Okay.
Like,
So
I've got 750 followers, dude.
You're about to have 751. Get ready.
Yeah, he's on there playing some tennis. It looks good.
Yeah, so it started from Zippo Dippos, and I've been working on it. But yeah, Trent Broach at Facebook, Trent Broach at Twitter.
Well, let's all hang out sometime, man. And I can't wait to see how this plays out, dude. And I can't wait to cover next episode. And
763. Congratulations.
Damn, Jonny Fairplay following Trent.
Dude, here's what my phone looks like after a show. It's like, it's like too many things to even look at.
Bumble, brown sugar, Twitter.
Don't, Christy's gonna hear it, dude. Johnny, you get me in trouble. Please quit.
Well, thank you very much, man. It's been fun, and Marcus, thank you. It's been fun. It's a beautiful night here in Cincinnati, Ohio, in my backyard. We watched the show, and I think coming up when Zach gets back in town, he's going to be live in person in my backyard. So we will see you guys next week on another exciting and fun episode of Survivor NSFW.
Oh, hey, one small thing too.
Oh,
me and all the guys, August 7th through August 10th, we're all going to do a reunion trip on our own to LA. So if anybody's in LA, August 7th to August 10th, you should
come down to. You should go to Celebration, Florida for Hearts of Reality.
What's
Hearts of Reality? That's that same weekend in Celebration, Florida. It's going to be like 80 reality stars.
What?
Yeah.
What is this? Can you send me any info on this?
John, trust me. Since Johnny started following you on Instagram, it's your worst fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
You're gonna block this motherfucker within 2 days.
He's
already pretty much ruined. He's like ruined my marriage. He's ruined my whole fucking life. I'm doing these stupid podcasts. I'm like, fuck. But in all seriousness, yeah, hit up Johnny and Zach. You got any last words?
I do not. Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week to cover Labor of Love. There's a lot of exciting stuff going on Survivor NSFW, so make sure you subscribe and don't miss any of the action.
Yeah, become a patron. Get all the good stuff behind the scenes.